Welcome back to another video in the Build a Carbon Bike series that I'm doing. Last video we talked about the fork steerer, had that chopped, had that test fitted with the handlebar in place and the expander plug loosely fitted just to check the fitment. That's all well and good, and I said we'd go on to routing the hydraulic cable of the rear brake caliper. But before we get into that, I wanted to just go over something really important, and that is with the Shimano brake system. This one in particular, I'm not 100% if it's across the whole Shimano range, but whenever you buy a group set, front and rear brake calipers, you typically get a front mount bracket that allows for 140, 160 and 180 millimeter discs. So we're talking disc brakes specifically, but the rear disc caliper only supports 140 millimeter. However, on this build, I've opted to go for these guys. So these are the Ice Technologies Freezer 160 mil discs. So naturally, I can swap the bracket round on the front caliper to support one of these, but the rear one you have to get an adapter, which is this guy here. It's only about 10, 11 quid UK pounds, or whatever that is in dollars or currency in your country. But yeah, that's the model you need, and yeah, you mount that to your caliper. You might need different bolts depending on your bike frame. The ones that come supplied with the rear caliper are quite long, and I've had to get shorter bolts just because the rear mount on my frame is quite narrow. So yeah, just wanted to get that out the road, and yeah, let's get to routing this rear caliper in place. Stay tuned. So now we've got the cable routed. That's the rear caliper. We've got it through that little grommet there, and the way I was able to do this was using this heat shrink tubing that was actually pre-installed, and all I've done is I've shoved it over the end of the hydraulic cable and taped it up with electrical tape and pulled it through and secured it with more tape. And next we'll get this guy greased up on the bolts and then mounted. So let's do it. Okay, so we've got the caliper installed. We've got the block in between the brake pads so that when we go to bleed the brakes, we're not going to inject any fluid out the pistons and whatnot. Cable's routed all the way through here. I've actually installed the foam tubing, and that's down in the bike frame itself. I don't know if you can see that here. Yeah, there's there. Okay, so next step is to get this guy. Let's get the front mounted brake caliper installed and cable routed. So let's go do that. So it's been a few minutes. Just for reference, I am using the Park Tools, what's it called? High Performance Grease, to lock in the nuts, or bolts, sorry. Just to give them a little bit of greasiness, so they're not horrible to undo at a later date. So yeah, we've got the caliper and the cable routed through the top of the fork steerer. Next, what we're going to do is I've also put in the the block in between the brake pads there. Again, stop the piston from squirting out any fluid. So yeah, we'll get this mounted on the bike and get the handlebar secured, and then make sure we get all these cables sorted. I don't know if I'm just going to route the cable through the handlebar off camera, because it can be quite fiddly and boring for some people. So yeah, we'll cut to that in a few moments time.